kind of getting into something analogous to the ride share revolution or the file sharing revolution. But let's just take file sharing, right? First, I mean, the record labels had like an iron fist on distribution and consumption of records. And then file sharing meant anyone could. And all of a sudden people woke up to, oh my gosh, this is terrible. They're taking all our stuff. They're just stealing songs and all this kind of stuff. And they tried to throw people in prison. They threw a few, and they couldn't stop it. They could stop a Napster, but then with BitTorrent, you just couldn't stop that. And then their laws were kind of shown to be stupid, and they changed them. I don't know if I don't think they really changed it, but they changed enforcement to where anyone can file share still today. No one really cares. But also, I don't think as many people are file sharing because you can just go to like a Spotify or Netflix and just so easy to just access where you wanted to do. If that existed, you would never have had file sharing if that kind of thing had existed.
It was too complicated again. It was too hard to do.
Cycle.
I'll just pay Spotify $20 a month and be like, oh, I don't have to download all those songs anymore.
That's where we're going, I think. I think we're going to a spot where it's going to become easy enough for people to just do whatever they want. If they don't want to use Coinbase, they're going to use Thorchain or some DeFi thing that's like they're going to use their little they're going to look into a VPN so they can like pretend they don't live in the US where they can access it and all this. And people are just going to do their thing. US based companies are going to be freaking out because they're like, we have to do all this regulatory stuff and all this kind of stuff, and look at all these people just go like this is unfair to us. Yeah. And then they're going to come to like a negotiation. We're in the negotiation period. People don't think that you can negotiate with your government, but you're constantly doing that, right? So we're in the period where we're pushing the Overton window this way. They're trying to push it this way. And at some point, you got to fight it out and find like a happy thing in the middle where you're like, I can deal with this. I can deal with, I can see it's like, like a custody agreement where I can see my government once a year when I pay the taxes and, understand they're going to bust me if I'm hiding too much of my DeFi gains somewhere else. And just like, that's our agreement. I'll pay your freaking taxes and you just leave me the hell alone.
Okay. Well, I think we're getting towards our time here. Joel, some parting thoughts for our listeners if they wanted to go ahead and try to go unbanked, live off cryptocurrencies. What's just a couple quick suggestions for them to get started and what do you suggest that they do?
Well, obviously, follow all my stuff. Look up how to live on crypto. And it's an old version, but by January, I'll have a newer version. I would say you learn to pay one regular expense with crypto, and just figure it out. Once you can do that, then you just add more things that you pay. It's just the cold plunge like I took is experimental purposes only. I wouldn't tell people to do that kind of thing. Your friends are going to be, your biggest friend is probably going to be BitRefill, because BitRefill lets you pay your phone bill and stuff. It lets you pay almost any bill, like your water bill, your tax bill, or whatever else. You can do that through BitRefill in the US and El Salvador, I think, right now. And then there is, if you're using Dash, there's an app called Dash Direct, which is that gift card workaround thing that's going to have like the no KYC card or whatever that helps. So that's great for spending, good user experience for spending just anywhere. Buy something at Best Buy or Panera or wherever else. I believe the same company has something in Cake Wallet, which is like a Bitcoin, Monero, Litecoin basically wallet that has the same type of thing. I don't think it has the same discounts as the Dash version and stuff, but it's another thing if you wanted to use those instead, just use that. BitRefill does not do Monero or Bitcoin Cash. So it would say like try Dash, try Litecoin, try Bitcoin if you don't mind. I mean, the fees are low enough in next year, so I'm sure you should be fine with like on-chain Bitcoin. But yeah, just try doing that. You can pay some bills or just be like, hey, look, I'm going to buy a new computer. Let me go load up stuff at Best Buy and just spend it all through there. Yeah, you bought one thing, and then ramp it up from there. And then it just, once you start doing that, you're just not going to go back. That's the problem. Is you get ready for the wild ride, because you don't start living on crypto and then just be like, you know what, I'm going to go back to like government money. I don't see people doing that. It doesn't really happen.
The greener side, where the grass is actually green.
So what's the project you're most
Yeah.
excited about out there? What looking around the space? Which project do you see is most exciting?
Are you talking about like independent blockchains?
Or even
Like-
anything related to blockchain? Yeah, just any one of the projects related to blockchain. You can say Bitcoin too. That's fine. Although
really
I don't know what kind of
hard
new
because
developments
there's
going on there. Really.
One of the ones that's up on my list. So I got to split between two, Dash and Thorchain.
Thorchain.
The thing that's got me interested in Dash to begin with, other than just like that was what I had to use, right? Was there's this project that's been, it's kind of like the ETH 2.0, except even worse, of like never launching kind of thing, is like Dash Evolution, and a good username and contact list system on the blockchain, and it's like so close. It's like I've used it on testnet for over a year, and it's really cool as far as like it just makes it so easy for people to transact. And I don't know, any month now should be out on mainnet, but basically I'm just looking forward to just being able to just pay someone's username and just have all my transaction history between that person clarified with that, but then you can't see it on the blockchain. There's no lack of privacy. There's no loss of privacy at all in that. I'm super looking forward to that finally. And then also I've been using Thorchain for a while, which is basically a cross-chain Uniswap, if that, helps people out. It's like old school Shapeshift, new school Shapeshift actually uses Thorchain for their backend, right? Yeah, no. Just swap any token for any token for any token, any L1 for any L1. And then you can also provide liquidity, so you can kind of like earn interest on any token, really. And they're doing they call it single-sided LPing, which is single-sided liquidity providing, which basically means you could deposit like half a Bitcoin or a small fraction, whatever. Let's just say 0.1 Bitcoin. You deposit 0.1 Bitcoin, and you just earn interest on that Bitcoin in Bitcoin. So when you withdraw it, now you have your old Bitcoin back, but plus a little bit, and it's like a trustless system. That's going to be cool, because you imagine a protocol level trustless crypto savings account for any crypto that's paid for by trading fees, right? As far as like liquidity and stuff, that's going to be really cool. Like, I think that's that thing. It's like now it's not like, oh, are you forming a part of a masternode or Ethereum? You can do a staking Lido staking pool. It's like you Doge. You can get Doge interest and stuff. Like, I think that's another part of the killer app that we're waiting for. So those two things are what
it's like a conduit
me
for
up at
swaps
night
between
about
different chains and stuff like that. I've been following them. A lot of people have been like what you said, and just excited about all the different swaps that they have on there and all the different opportunities. I think wasn't there like a dragon chain? They just had a run-in with the SEC, I think, recently. So, or not them, but one of the. Anyway.
Yeah, who doesn't these days? The SEC's probably waiting for me in my driveway out there.
on the company you never formed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Joel. It was a pleasure having you, and nice learning, and always interesting listening to people living in crypto, because it's getting easier today, I think, and that's
There's like
good.
12 of us.
Certainly, when you started doing it, wow, you must have had to break everyone's arm to take crypto.
Tell you, it was a rough one.
And for anybody who's out there who wants to follow you, where can they find you at and read some of your writings? So
on Twitter, I'm at the Desertlynx, not Desertlynx. Desert is in a hot place. Lynx and kitty cat. That's probably the best way. And then anywhere else, just look for either my name or my channel is Digital Cash Network, and it's on like YouTube, Odyssey, Spotify, all these kinds of places like that. On TikTok, Instagram, everywhere, and that pretty much covers all the bases. That'll. And then if you just specifically want to know about how to live on crypto, look up how to live on crypto. And if you do a little bit of searching about like my name plus live on crypto on like YouTube, you'll find like CNN came out and did a little piece on me a couple of years ago. Naomi Brockwell's done a bunch of stuff on me. There's like a few documentaries. There's a bunch of stuff if you want to like kind of get into that a little bit more, and also see what I used to look like when I was like 20 pounds heavier. So we'll do all that.
All right, Joel. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
So another great episode. As we begin to wrap it up, let's just kind of talk through a real short recap. Joel, man, he is an interesting guy, Eric. Living unbanked and being able to live, off cryptocurrency. It's definitely an interesting life. Intriguing. I find it intriguing, at least.
Well, he's a true believer, that's for sure. He's been in the space a long time. He's written about the space. He's seen the ups and downs and the wars and all the craziness. And people may not appreciate it today, but I remember him from Dash, and now he's into a whole bunch of different other things. And so it's super interesting to see somebody living on crypto. And I think there'll be more and more of them, more people following his lead, and people like him that are just, they learn to do it. And eventually there's a big enough market there that people are going to cater to them, and it becomes easier and easier. It's much harder back in the day when people were traveling around the world on Bitcoin and nobody knew what it was than it is today. At least people know what it is. You'll find somebody interested in buying at least enough to get you food and things like that. But back in the, so it's very interesting to hear his experiences and his advice.
Well, it's really cool because we're just starting out, finding these interesting folks. Joel's definitely one of them. Sounds like the meetup groups that he's been part of. There's a lot of awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know he did those. So I ran a meetup group back, and we just got this envelope full of brochures, and they were actually really useful and educational. And we're like, oh, this is great, thank you. It was some nonprofit, but it was actually super helpful. We'd bring them and give them out and things. And I had no idea that he did that. That was his thing.
Yeah. And it's just awesome. The whole idea that there are other people besides ourselves out there that are dedicating their life to cryptocurrencies and educating people, just really, really cool. It's going to be interesting, though, because Joel is on my list. We got to bring him back on. In the future, get a recap and see if he wrote those books he was talking about.
I'm sure he'll get around to it when there's a slowdown in the market. Ha ha.
Okay, guys. Well, for you, our listeners, if you're hearing this message, once again, you've listened all the way to the end of our episode. And for that, we want to thank you. If you've liked this episode, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this episode at. If you liked it enough, make sure you share the episode with your friends. And if you have any questions about anything that was on our episode today, we would love to hear from you. We answer all the messages that we get, so don't hesitate, as always, to reach out to us. And you can join us to continue the conversation on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, everyone.